It's Downhill Mania time on Prime Sports, and that means the world's top mountain bike racers competing head-to-head in a test of skill, determination, and courage. It also means the side-by-side slashing action of the dual slalom. The battle begins here at the first stop, the 1995 GT Bicycles U.S. Mountain Challenge Series, presented by Gatorade. It's mountain bike racing at its best, and it's only on Prime Sports. We are in Big Bear City, California, Snow Summit, and this, ladies and gentlemen, is Downhill Mania. Hi again, everybody, and welcome. I'm Bill McDonald, alongside is my cohort and our expert analyst. His name, of course, is Dean Bradley. Stay with us for the next hour. We've got some sensational mountain biking for you, coast to coast, here on Prime Sports. Dean, we've been doing this now for the last 3 years. This is actually a 3-event series, the first of the series of the U.S. Mountain Challenge, and what a sensational place to start, Snow Summit.
Snow Summit is really a world-class mountain biking resort. The crew up here is 100% behind mountain biking, and they always put on an A1 event.
But what about the weather? It's just been cold.
Yeah, the riders yesterday had to qualify in a driving, freezing rain at the top of the mountain. It was brutal.
We've got dual slalom to talk about in just a bit, but let's start with the marquee event. That is our downhill, and the best of the best are here for both the men and the women. Let's start with the guys.
Big surprise in the men's division. The fastest qualifying time, Ryan Dahl, former U.S. national champ. He was a junior, and he is slightly ahead of last year's winner, Chris O'Driscoll. But O'Driscoll is not the big story. The big story is Dave Cullinan, who at 25 years old, the former world champion, had to sit out last season and have 2 open-heart surgeries. David qualified 3rd, and he is looking real strong here today.
That's a story we're going to be following, but I think you get the point. It's just going to be an insane competition. Same with the women.
Same with the women. We got Elke Brutzart. She came out. She won here last year. She set the fastest qualifying time here, and she is just slightly ahead of U.S. and world downhill champion Kim Saunier.
But as we mentioned, we've also got dual slalom competition for you, both the men and the women.
Absolutely. It's going to be crazy, Bill. We've got Kurt Voorhees. He placed the fastest time yesterday, but he's ahead of like 6 of the top BMX pros in the nation.
But our marquee event, as always, is the Downhill Mania. And when Dean and I come back, we're going to take a closer look, just for you, at this great course at Snow Summit. So please, don't you move. Downhill Mania is being brought to you by GT Bicycles, making the finest bicycles to put you on the ride of your life. By Gatorade, life is a sport, drink it up. And by Paul Mitchell, professional salon products available in fine salons only. We welcome you back to the GT US Mountain Challenge and Downhill Mania stop number 1 at Snow Summit Resort in Big Bear, California. A beautiful venue and a fantastic course, Dean.
This really is a great course, Bill. Starting at just over 8,000 feet above sea level, the riders will twist and turn to the finish, dropping over 1,200 feet in 1.7 miles. That's pretty steep. Right after the start, riders enter into one of the fastest parts of the course, the log chute. High-speed pedaling and plenty of room to pass. Then into the bowl, where there's some windy, wet single track which spreads out on its way into the midway flats. Out of the flats, the racers encounter Jeff's jump and enter the corkscrew section, where there's lots of loose terrain and some big sweeping turns. Then it's on to the finish.
Sounds fun. With that, let's take a look at quarterfinal action. Now, the men's quarter started at the top of a very cold and foggy mountain. Needless to say, the competitors were anxious to start their races and to get to the sunshine below as fast as possible.
Quarterfinal number 1 featured 4 strong competitors, 2 of which, Andrew Shandro and Chris O'Driscoll, had won events in 1994. Of the 4, it seemed Andrew Shandro was the most anxious to get to the warm finish line below. Taking the whole shot, he was followed by O'Driscoll, Voorhees, Snyder, and Ford.
At high speed, the 4 raced toward the bottom in what seemed almost an uneventful race.
Places remain the same for the entire course, with Shandro and O'Driscoll finishing first and second to advance into the semis. Voorhees and Snyder taking third and fourth respectively.
So there's our finish, quarterfinal number 1. And remember, only the first 2 advance to our semifinals.
If quarterfinal number 1 could be considered uneventful, quarter 2 was just the opposite. 4 more big names, Tinsman, Kunzelman, Davis, and Knott lined up in the start. But it was Tinsman who took them into the first corner, followed by Kunzelman and Davis, with Robert Naughton taking up the rear. But by the time they had dropped into the bowl, things had changed considerably. Robert Naughton had pulled into second place, but was not content, and he continued to push Philip Tinsman for the lead.
That last round was stacked with tough competition, and we motored the whole way down. I put 2 really scary passes on the 2 riders in front of me to get into second, and then Philip messed up a turn down here towards the bottom, and I got by him. And then I saw in the last corner up there, Casey had fallen down, so we were able to coast it into the finish. It was a good run.
Robert's race from 4th to 1st was nothing short of spectacular, and he, along with Philip Tinsman, will fill in the remaining 2 slots in semi number 1. While Kunzelman and Davis end the competition with 3rd and 4th in their quarterfinal heat. Now, it was still cold and foggy at the top when the next heat rolled up to the start.
Quarterfinal number 3 featured 2 Aussies and 2 Californians. From left to right, Australian Michael Ronning, Californian Joe Lawwill, Australian Scott Sharples, and California Don McLean.
Throughout the competition, nobody has had faster starts than Joe Lawwill. Once again, Lawwill would lead into the first corner. He was followed by the 2 Aussies, Ronning and Sharples, with McLean in 4th.
The placings did not change the whole way down the mountain, but Ronning continually put the pressure on Lawwill and came within striking distance on the flats, forcing Lawwill to lay down some heavy pedaling. Over Jeff's jump, it was Lawwill and Ronning first and second, and that's how they would finish, even with a last-minute pedal push by Sharples.
So Lawwill and Ronning will move into the second semifinal. Sharples and McLean will finish up with equal 9ths and equal 13ths, respectively. Quarterfinal number 4 would fill the last 2 slots in the semis and featured Jimmy Deaton, Dave Coulinan, Jimmy Kite, and Rex McGuire.
Kite and Cullinan, considered the favorites, took the lead out of the blocks with Deaton and McGuire close behind. Of all the quarterfinal races, this was the closest wheel-to-wheel racing. This would also be a place for Cullinan to prove that he's back.
I haven't been on the bike that much, I've only been riding since March, and I knew my fitness was bad, but I came out in the first run down, I had the fastest time, and I was kind of like, everybody was like, I think it shocked myself as much as it shocked everybody else, because they're like, uh-oh, he is back, it's one thing just to say I'm racing a game, but to come out and beat everybody and have the fastest time, it surprised me and it surprised a lot of people, and it made me feel that I know where I have to improve. I ain't my riding skills, it's going to have to be in my fitness and my power. That's what in 94 I was changing. I was really training hard to improve that in 94, and to have all that heart problems just kind of put me back at 0, but I know I can get there again, and that's what my goal is.
Down towards the bottom, the 4 raced without a mishap until the large left-hand sweeper out of the corkscrew. Deaton in 3rd washed out while McGuire encountered an unexpected obstacle.
So Jimmy Kite and Dave come back. Cullinan move 1 step closer to the final in 1st and 2nd, with McGuire and Deaton finishing in 3rd and 4th. Stay with us, everybody. Up next will be men's semifinal number 1. Welcome back, everybody. It's 1995, and this is Downhill Mania at Snow Summit, California. Bill Mack along with Dean Bradley. Semifinal number 1 about to begin, and let's meet our competitors, although it's still cold and foggy up at the top.
Bill, we're about to see one dicey semifinal. Andrew Shandro on the outside, Philip Tinsman next to him, O'Driscoll on the pole position, and Robert Naughton, who easily won quarterfinal number 2. Talk about his strategy.
Strategy is just, I'm not real powerful off the top, so I like to draft. But once we get into the steep, gnarly sections, I can hang it out, and I've passed last 2 races right in the steep stuff. So that's my strategy. I like to hang back and then put the death passes on people. Scare them a little.
All right, they pull the rope across. Now, Dean, you tell us the strategy right here to get the hole shot.
Well, the strategy is O'Driscoll is in that pole position, so he doesn't have to pedal near as hard as the rest of the riders to gain that inside line to the first corner. There he goes, but a big push by Tinsman on the outside, and Tinsman is gone.
Tinsman in the lead with Andrew Shandro in second, who talked about this course.
Tall course is a little more wide open and a little more pedaling, sort of less Dyson, but this course is a little more tricky at the top. You need a good start, and it's tricky to pass, so you have to have a good start and try to stay out in front.
This is like a Vegas race. Dicey is the word of the day. And as we come out of the fog and the helicopter picks up our racers, and now we get a clear view of Andrew Shandro, who has taken over the lead with Chris O'Driscoll in second. So somewhere up on the hill, Shandro made the pass, and he's looking good, Dean.
Yeah, Tinsman has fallen back into third, but it looks like he's pushing O'Driscoll there in second place. You can see this is an extremely wet and sloppy section there. The riders are just trying to stay upright, get down to that middle part of the course that dries out and is considerably faster.
And you can see within just a matter of a few feet, it dries out considerably and the dust is flying. Boy, the snow really accumulating up on top. It is Andrew Shandro, so we get a great view of it, putting some distance between he and O'Driscoll and then the rest of the pack.
Shandro's got a nice comfy lead, Bill, going into this fast midsection. Just like you mentioned, it's very dry, very fast, and the riders are stretching out their lead at this point.
Is there a time maybe on this course where mentally you can let down a little and then make a mistake because it does change so much from being slick to dry?
Absolutely not, Bill. Big Bear requires that you can ride the wet and the dry equally well.
Now look at Tinsman. He's moving up on Chris O'Driscoll for second place. He's putting on the accelerator, and he's passing. Now remember, the key here is the top 2 move on to the final. So now it's Shandro, followed by Tinsman, O'Driscoll, and then Naughton.
Great move by Tinsman. I think that O'Driscoll is paying for that fast qualifying time he had earlier in the day. He looks a bit tired.
Now Tinsman is even trying to push the lead in Shandro. This is a great race, 1, 2, and 3 as we get down to the bottom section of the mountain. And a little bobble here could cost you a spot in the final. Naughton is out of it, but here are the top 3, Shandro, Tinsman, and O'Driscoll. And they're really going at it. And now it looks like O'Driscoll is trying to make a move back, and he does. Incredible racing going on, but let's see why that pass was possible. This is before on Jeff's jump, and O'Driscoll barely holds on.
O'Driscoll squared the corner off, came out of his pedal, almost goes over the bars over Jeff's jump, but then he's fired back up. He goes inside of Tinsman, bumps Tinsman into the soft stuff on the outside of the berm, and he's gone.
Tinsman, in fact, almost ate some bark that time right into a tree, which means that Naughton even past Tinsman. But right now, comfortably in first and second, it's Shandro and O'Driscoll and Dean. They look like they're going to move on.
Great move by O'Driscoll. And what happened to Tinsman? Tinsman is just off the back. He's not even in the picture.
Tinsman was about to move on, but he will finish last. Is Shandro, O'Driscoll, Naughton, and Tinsman finally finishing here on our Snow Summit course. What a disappointing race for Philip Tinsman, but a brilliant one for Chris O'Driscoll, who moves into second behind Andrew Shandro to move on. Dino has moved trackside with our winner.
Here with main qualifier Andrew Shandro. Andrew, tell us about that run. Oh man, that was a hard one. It was pretty fast. Phil got a good start and I just kind of stuck to his wheel and let him work a little bit on the flat stuff, and I went by him on the flat, and I think Chris just hooked on, and I'm not really sure what happened to that. I was in the front and I didn't see it. It was a pretty quick run though. It was fun.
Now you won at Tahoe last year. You think you can win here today?
Yeah, I think I can win. It's going to be a tough feat for sure, but I'm going to do my best, I'll tell you. The Marin downhill bike is working great.
Any special strategy going into this main event?
I'm going to try to get a good start again, and maybe hopefully be in about second place, let someone else do the work on the flat stuff, and then just try to slingshot by him.
Now you're known as being more of an aerobic rider. I mean, you've got great fitness. Is that going to come into play in the final?
I think it will for sure, yeah. I've been working on it a lot over the winter, and I think it actually came into effect that last run. So, yeah, I think it's going to help me for sure.
All right, best of luck in the final.
Thanks a lot.
All right.
Thank you, man. That's the kind of racing we love. And as our riders get set for semifinal number 2 up at the top, we'll take a break and be back with more after this. Downhill Mania is being brought to you by Slider. Follow the leader with the Bike Slider, the original trailer hitch bike rack. And by Gatorade. Life's a sport. Drink it up. Welcome back, everybody. The U.S. Mountain Challenge, Snow Summit Resort, Big Bear Lake, California. Bill McDonald and Dean Bradley. Well, Shandro and O'Driscoll already are in our final. You need the other two competitors. Dean, here's semifinal number 2 in the lineup.
Bill, this is as loaded a semifinal as you're going to see here today. We've got Jimmy Kite in that pole position. Next to him, Smokin' Joe Lawwell, ex-world downhill champ Dave Cullinan, and Michael Ronning from Australia. Ronning is really enjoying the competition here in the United States.
Oh, it's unreal. There's so much more competition here. Like in Australia, you sort of, any downhill, you're sort of guaranteed you'll finish probably top 5, but here everyone's going fast, so you're on the ball the whole time.
All right, mate, let's see if you can get the whole shot here, Mr. Ronning. This is going to be, as you mentioned, a spectacular semi as they come out of the fog. Who's got the whole shot, Dean?
That would be Smokin' Joe Lawwell, who's absolutely unbeatable in the start. He is followed by Dave Cullinan and Michael Ronning. Now, Cullinan is very unfamiliar with this Downhill Mania format.
Well, I mean, it's kind of like it's kind of a problem actually for me, because I'll get somebody in front of me who's slower through a technical section than I am, and then they come out really hard sprinting, and so they're like the exact opposite. I would rather go faster through the technical section because I can, and then really relax and try to save my fitness later. And so it's kind of like it's been actually working against me, you know, and I haven't been able to have the power to get out of the gate like I would hope for.
Well, Dean, the fitness of Cullinan may be playing a part in this race right now, because he's moved back to 3rd place. In 1st, it's Lawwell. In 2nd, it's Ronning, then Cullinan. And Jimmy Kite, I don't even think he wants to be here at this point. He's basically out of it in 4th.
Yeah, Cullinan is falling off the pace here. He's only been riding his bike, admittedly, since March, so he's just out here just to test his fitness and strength.
And with Kite all the way in 4th and out of the competition, Lawwell seems to be able to cruise at this juncture. As you can see, this spot that gets very slick, the snow is accumulated, and then, as we saw in the first semifinal, right into the dry stuff.
Now, these guys have had a long road to get here, Bill, and again, the fitness is starting to really come into play. These guys are tired. They've been riding hard for the last 2 days.
Well, let's not count Cullinan out yet as Jimmy Kite goes over the hill. Cullinan still is on the hip of Ronning, and he has an opportunity as the first 2 will move on. Has a great view from our helicopter as they weave through the trees.
Joe Lawwell is not the kind of guy you want to let lead you out this far. Ronning has got to close this gap if he's going to be in contention.
But Ronning also knows that a 2nd place will move him on into the final 4. So his main concern basically is right behind him and Cullinan. However, the pack seems to be moving closer together. We're about to get to Jeff's jump, which almost spelled disaster for Chris O'Driscoll in the first semi. This could be a key portion of the course. Jimmy Kite, remember, still in it, but he's out of it. There's the jump right now, and everybody over it okay.
You saw Lawwell looking over his shoulder. Joe is riding just as fast as he needs to stay ahead of both Ronning and Cullinan. He is no dummy. He's going to conserve energy for the lower section of the course.
Lawwell, a veteran, sliding around this very difficult turn as we get towards the lower portion of this Snow Summit course, which is an awesome one. Here's that tight turn where passes can be made, but it remains true 1, 2, and 3 with Lawwell, Ronning, and Cullinan. And Cullinan now off the pace a little bit, so unless something happens, it appears as though those top 2 will move on to the finals, Steve.
Lawwell has run a really, really smart race here today, and he is just going to cruise into the finish, conserving energy for that final.
Hole shot after hole shot all day long for Joe Lawwell, and it really pays dividends for him because he's so strong and he's so experienced and he's so comfortable that he just leads wire to wire in this one. He will win it. Joe Lawwell comes across with Ronning, a very close 2nd. Cullinan gave it a go. He will come in 3rd, and Jimmy Kite now can get warm and go home if he likes. He moves in 4th. There are our results, and with our winner of semi number 2, once again, is Dean Bradley.
We're here with main qualifier Joe Lawwell. Joe, you're no stranger to mains here at the Downhill Mountain Challenge. Tell us about that last run, though.
that last run was really tough. I was looking back at Michael Rodney and Cullen and just battling, banging bars, and I wanted to try and cool out because I pedaled so hard up top, and they just were right there the whole time. I got really scared, so I probably pedaled too hard, but at least I'm in the final, and that's all that really matters. So.
Now, to get this far, you've had to go through a lot of qualifying rounds. Is fitness really starting to play a part now?
It's really critical, and I'm not acclimated, and I'm just sucking lungs big time, and it's so cold up there, I feel like my lungs are going to freeze, but everyone up top is just complaining about how tired and unfit they are, so I don't feel too bad.
So going into the main, you going to try to conserve energy?
No, I'll go all out.
All right, best of luck in that main event.
Okay, thanks a lot.
Time for us all to take a break. When we come back, the slalom. Welcome back, everybody, on Prime Sports, the GG Bicycles U.S. Mountain Challenge.
Okay.
The women's consolation final
Red course
determined
ready.
third and
Red
fourth in the
course
dual
ready.
slalom and pitted
Racers
Mercedes
ready.
Gonzalez
Go.
against Kim Saunier.
After the first run, Saunier had a .840 advantage due to some time-eating mistakes by Mercedes Gonzalez.
In the second run, Mercedes suffered some mechanical problems, and Kim Saunier went on to sew up third place.
In the men's consolation final, two former BMX stars and longtime rivals Pete Blonkarevich and Toby Henderson. In race number one, Pistol Pete finished with a .726 advantage, and after switching courses, Henderson had his work cut out for him.
Racers ready.
I was on the slower course the first run, so I knew that. So I knew the second run had to be a lot better. But I had to go against a guy like Pete Blonkarevich. I had to make it work. I just rode smooth and strong and knew that the last part of the straightaway was the way to do it. So I just rode real good and hard through there. My Iron Horse rode real well, and I made the last two gates very clean. Pete didn't, and I pulled it off.
The crowd now in anticipation of the first run of the women's final. We go up to the top of the course, and Meet the Two will be going at it. It will be Sherry Elliott on the right and Lee Donovan next to her, who talked about this course.
Ready for a start?
Well, this course is very loose, and at the top it's really muddy, but in the end it's really loose. So I'd just say a smooth, kind of conservative race.
Blue course ready. Red
Smooth
course ready.
and conservative. I don't know if you
Racers
can do that when you're in slalom. And here they go.
Take a look at Sherry Elliott, the national dual slalom champ. She is making it look easy here today on an extremely difficult course.
Boy, Elliott almost lost it completely, but Donovan, maybe she is smooth and comfortable and taking it easy, a little conservative, because Elliott had that bobble at the top on the red, but on the blue right now, Lee Donovan's going to have a nice advantage after the first run.
That blue course is considerably smoother than that red course, Bill. Elliott is really chopping away at the red course, and she's going to lose some big time here.
Remember, there will be a second run, so now Donovan wins this, but also the advantage will be the key. It's a .610. Sherry Elliott had some major mechanical problems during that run, and Lee Donovan gets a little bit of a laugh out of it. Those two will go at it again later on. Now the men, Dean Kurt Voorhees and Eric Carter.
Bill, we've got the fastest qualifier in this course. Kurt Voorhees on the blue course, Eric Carter on the red.
Going against probably Carter, and it's going to be pretty hard. He's a real fast rider, real smooth. I just got to stay focused and hit everything perfect.
Blue course ready.
I think it would be a major upset if Voorhees loses this battle. Not necessarily this race, but obviously the final. A good start for Carter, but now I think the advantage on the blue really takes its toll.
Yeah, the blue course has a rhythm to it. The red course is very, very choppy. It's difficult to get your rhythm down and difficult to go through it smoothly.
Voorhees looking good on the blue, but Carter giving it a heck of a run on the red, Dean.
Carter is never to be counted out. Again, he's got a great BMX sprint, and here it comes at the end. Carter wins it.
Check it out, Carter on the, what is thought to be the slower red course with a huge advantage of .756. But their second run will be upcoming momentarily. While we have some time, let's take a look at Snow Summit Ski Resort. It has long been famous as one of California's premier winter resorts, offering some of the best snowboard and ski terrain in the country. In recent years, Summit has become a favorite summertime destination for mountain biking and sightseeing. Nestled in the San Bernardino National Forest, Snow Summit's mile-long skylift offers a fantastic view of Big Bear Lake and the surrounding mountains. At the top, you'll find over 40 miles of bike trails. Summit's diverse terrain provides riding enjoyment for enthusiasts of all levels. Snow Summit, host of the 1995 GT US Mountain Series and Downhill Mania. Coming up, more dual slalom. Stay with us. Welcome back, everybody, to Downhill Mania. Time now for the second run of the women's dual slalom. Lee Donovan and Sherry Elliott, who had some problems in her first run.
It's really sandy, very rocky. I find myself doing little nosies every now and again, little slips, but everyone is because when you get rock and deep sand and turning, that's going to happen quite often.
Blue course ready.
And often it did happen on the red course for Sherry Elliott. Now she's on the blue, but she's got that disadvantage of .610. She's got to make it up on the blue, Dean.
It is do or die on this blue course for Sherry Elliott, Bill, and she gets off to a great start. Nice lead over the jump.
Now remember, Lee Donovan doesn't have to win if she's just very close to Sherry Elliott. She will take the dual slalom. It's the combined time of the two runs. But right now, Sherry's looking good.
.610, she's got the advantage.
.610 is the advantage. She's got to win by more than that. The push at the finish. It's going to be very close. And Sherry Elliott, the second run advantage, .329, which means that Lee Donovan will be our champion, and she knows it.
Good job, man.
I will talk to Lee in just a moment, but right now the men are getting ready. Kurt Voorhees and Eric Carter. But right now, let's go to Dean with Lee.
Okay, we're down here with Lee Donovan, the women's final winner. Lee, you set the fastest qualifying time. You came out and beat Sherry Elliott. Tell us about that last run.
The last run was pretty interesting. I knew I'd beat her the first run by a good length, so I just kind of conserved and pretty much watched Sherry ride and just tried to stay within about a half a second from her.
All right, congratulations, Lee.
Thanks, Dean.
Stay with them, buddy.
Let's move back now to the men. And it's
Blue
Eric
course
Carter
ready.
and Kurt Voorhees.
Red
And if
course
history has
ready.
told us
Racer
anything,
ready. Go.
it's that the blue course is faster, and Carter has a big advantage, and now he's on that blue course, Dean.
Voorhees has got to be feeling a tremendous amount of pressure, Bill. He's on the slower course. He's got a deficit to make up. This is going to be a difficult race for him at best.
Oh, and Carter right now is just cruising. Unless he falls, Carter should be our champion because he had that big advantage, and he's on the faster course, and he's looking good. But now Kurt Voorhees put the pedal to the metal. Here comes Kurt Voorhees, a late charge on that red course. He wins it. Will it be enough? No. But oh, what a great clutch effort by the veteran Kurt Voorhees. .521, which won't be enough to overtake Carter, who will win the men's dual slalom competition, but he had to hang on. There we go, 1 and 2, Carter and Voorhees. With our winner is Dean.
We're here with the winner of the men's dual slalom, Eric Carter. Eric, you came out. You were second fastest qualifier. You beat Kurt Voorhees, who was fastest. Tell us about that last run.
Like we said before, I just do my own thing. Towards the end of the runs, I started going into an easier gear so I could get quicker starts and trying to ride smoother, and that's what I did. I just got out in front and made him catch me, and it worked. Tried to push him into mistakes, and I don't think he made any mistakes, but I think the mistake I made wasn't big enough for him to capitalize, so it worked out for me.
All right, congratulations on a big win. What are you going to do with all that cash?
I'll probably put it in the bank and save for a cabin up here in Big Bear.
All right, congratulations again, Eric.
Now the women's downhill semifinals has set the stage, Dean, for a terrific final.
Semi-final number 1 featured defending event champion Elke Broussard, slalom dynamo Sherry Elliott, rookie pro Tara Giannis, and Leslie Osmondson. The race was decided shortly after the start.
Pretty much just jumped out with Sherry Elliott. She got the whole shot. I followed in right with her. Tara challenged me a little bit. Then as soon as the chicane was through, we got a little bit of a jump and kept going, and I guess the two of us pretty much just were out the whole way. I glanced back a couple times just to make sure, and then we just kind of went smooth down the whole way.
Elliott led for most of the race, only to have Broussard not satisfied with merely qualifying for the final. Passed her with 150 yards to go to take the win. Tara Giannis and Leslie Osmondson finished 3rd and 4th respectively. Moving to semi number 2, it featured the experienced Penny Davidson, former motorcycle racer Mercedes Gonzalez, up-and-comer Mickey Douglas, and the '94 World Cup champ Kim Song-Ye.
The four women charged off the start into the visibility-limiting low clouds. When they emerged, it was no surprise to see Kim Son-Ye in command. At the halfway point, however, the quickly improving Mercedes Gonzalez decided to make the race hers and went on to take the victory over a talented field.
I'm really honored that I did, and I've been working really hard, and now, you know, it's showing that it's paying off. Of course, this is one course, the season's long, and you run on different courses, but I'm really happy. I'm just really happy.
So Mercedes and Kim advance to the finals, while Davidson and Douglas call it a race. In the world of mountain biking, GT's Mercedes Gonzalez is a fairly new name, but in women's motocross, it's at the top of the list. Gonzalez, a 9-time women's motocross national champion, has hung up the 125 engine completely and is now attacking the mountain bike scene with the same fervor.
Actually, motocross ended in 90. I retired at the end of 90, and then I went into car racing. And I started mountain biking last March here at Big Bear, just for fun, just with my boyfriends and my friends, and entered a couple downhill races, and I saw that I was kind of a natural at it. Just kept racing, and then Bob Hadley at GT gave me a bicycle last year, and I won all the expert events, and from there it took off to this. Obviously I had the bike handling skills, so my weakness was pedaling, so all winter I spent on a road bike. I rarely rode my mountain bike at all. This is my first full serious season. I started training in December, training for this specifically. I don't ride my motorcycle much now. I don't do any car racing. Bicycling is the only thing I do right now.
Admittedly, Mercedes enjoys this Downhill Mania format the best.
Well, see, to me it's an advantage because I went into the first turn with 40 guys, 40 aggressive guys. So I'm used to bumping and shoving and looking for the little holes and taking advantage of them. So my weakness would actually be running by myself against time, pushing myself, keeping my focus just on the course instead of on another rider, which I'm much more comfortable focusing on a rider and just getting them. The girls that I'm riding against are really strong, experienced, they're in condition. I've had to make up a big gap. I don't know where I stand. I don't know if what I did this winter is the right thing. So I'm really nervous as far as that goes, but I'm comfortable because we're going 4 at a time, and that's my ball game.
Downhill Mania is being brought to you by Paul Mitchell Professional Salon Products, available in salons only, and by the Northwards Resort, a fine hotel in the rustic tradition. Welcome back, everybody, to Snow Summit. Bill McDonald and Dean Bradley. We're coast to coast on Prime Sports. Some great mountain biking action for you. And we are just about set to go with the women's downhill finals. Still dark and gloomy up at the top. Our competitors make their way to the starting gate. And we wonder now if defending event champ Elke Broussard, who might be the favorite, has enough gas left in the tank. Well, we asked her what she needs.
A little more power in my legs, I think. I'm not feeling too chipper, so I'll be psyched if I can pull anything off in the finals.
Dean, an awesome field.
Certainly, Bill. Elke Broussard, Kim Son-Ye, who is the World Cup and national champ, Sherry Elliott, dual slalom champ, and inside Mercedes Gonzalez.
What do you think? Who's the favorite going in?
The favorite has got to be Sherry Elliott on the far left. She is an ex-BMX rider, Hall of Famer, and look at her go. Easy hole shot for Sherry Elliott.
Some bumping in the back, but Sherry Elliott does get the hole shot. And as we take around the corner, Mercedes Gonzalez is in last but moving up, and we talked to her how her background will help her in this race.
Well, on this course, for sure, it's helped me. It's a real motocross type track. It's technical. You got to stand up a lot. You got to look for lines way ahead. And, you know, I'm passing the girls out there because I'm looking for the line. I'm not following. And that comes from my motocross background.
Dean, expand on that train of thought. Following the line, not necessarily the pack.
Well, as I mentioned earlier, it's much easier to be in second place. The lead, you're constantly looking over your shoulder. You're constantly worrying what your competition's doing in back of you.
And there's Mercedes making a move, and she has moved into second place. So boom, from fourth in a second, just like that. So following the line, she moves into contention. But still, it's Sherry Elliott. After the whole shot, she has remained in the lead. But still, Jeff's jump to come in some very hairy turns down near the bottom. And of course, the change from slick to dry coming up in a moment too.
Well, Uki Broussard had mentioned that she just did not have that much gas left in the old tank, and sure enough, Mercedes Gonzalez passed her, but she is still hanging in there in third, but there goes Mercedes, a great move past Elliott.
Mercedes Gonzalez has the lead. Unbelievable. She was last going around the first turn, was third for most of the top portion of the mountain. Now she's moved very quickly into the lead, but she's got some experienced riders behind, Dean. And remember, Mercedes has only been riding for about a year or so.
Experience is putting it lightly, Bill. She has got tons of experience behind her, and they're going to be pressuring her on this midsection of the course.
Yeah, lots of trophies, lots of wins, lots of champions right behind her. Gonzalez, Elliott, Broussard. They're running 1, 2, and 3, but Gonzalez seized the moment just a few turns ago and took the lead. Mercedes Gonzalez with Sherry Elliott right on her rear tire. But Jeff's jump coming up, and that could be a defining moment in the race, Dean.
It certainly will be, Bill, but both these riders are really accomplished jumpers, so it shouldn't be any problem for the top two. But watch Elliott, she is just shadowing.
Up and over they go, and the shadowing continues. Pretty close-knit pack. But remember, you're not just moving for position. This is the final. It's win or nothing. Let's go back to that pass. Mercedes seized the moment and passed Sherry Elliott with a big-time acceleration move on the outside.
Yeah, you can see that Sherry Elliott just does not have the juice there where she needs it.
Dean, are there any good places to pass here at the bottom of the course?
This is a great area for passing, Bill. Wide open fire roads, plenty of opportunities. We're going to see some good dicing going on here.
There's Broussard in third, Elliott in second. The leader is Gonzalez, but Gonzalez maintains that lead and not letting Elliott any opportunity to make that pass. A great view from our helicopter. As they disappear behind the trees, they'll come out with still the same leader, Mercedes Gonzalez.
That winter of road bike training obviously paying off for Gonzalez. She is pulling off the front and away from Elliott.
What a major win this would be for Mercedes Gonzalez. She's been training long and hard for this moment right here. Downhill Mania, the first event of the series at Snow Summit. And Mercedes Gonzalez is going to win it as she holds off Sherry Elliott to win the women's downhill. She is followed in second place by Sherry Elliott, Broussard, and then Saunier, who was never really a factor in this race. Final results, Mercedes Gonzalez with a big win and a jump start to her career. Let's go down to Dean.
Thanks, Bill. I'm here with Mercedes Gonzalez, the winner of the women's downhill. Mercedes, 31 years old. You came out here today. You beat the youngster. You beat the previous winner, and you beat the World Cup and national champ out here, Kim Saunier. How's it feel?
Oh, it feels great. Don't remind me of my age, but I feel good. You know, I'm a rookie at this, and I come from a motocross background. Been training a lot this winter on road bikes, and I just gave it my all today. Any hole that I saw out there, course is really narrow, and there was quite a bit of bumping and shoving, but I think that's what this event is about.
Tell us about the race from start to finish.
Well, the start was horrible. I started out last, kept getting splashed in the mud. I had tear-offs on. I kind of know how to take them off because of the motocross, and I just started working through the pack. People started making mistakes, leaving little holes, and I just took advantage of it. By the midway, I was in front, and I just couldn't believe it. I had to, calm myself down and make it to the finish.
You going to be back for some more downhill mania?
Oh, you bet. You bet. This is my favorite. I wish nationals were like this.
All right. Well, congratulations on a big win and a great ride.
Thank you very much. I want to thank GT Bicycles. They're the ones that got me here, gave me the opportunity, believed in me. Traxel helmets, crank gloves, Aussie Powerade, Rock Shock.
All right. Here's back to you, Bill.
Thank you, Dean. Mercedes is our champion. The men off the lift. They're just about set to go. The final after this. Welcome back, everybody, to Big Bear City Snow Summit Downhill Mania. Bill McDonald, Dean Bradley. We are glad you're with us here on Prime Sports Coast to Coast. In essence, folks, you could say that we have reached the summit of our telecast because this is the men's downhill final, and it's important because it's the first event of the season.
It certainly is, Bill. This marks the first real downhill of the season. The riders have a lot to prove. They've had the off-season to train, and they've never ridden against each other. So there's a lot of ego going on out there, a lot of attitude. It's going to be a heck of a race.
Yeah, it'll be a nice barometer for our competitors. What about our field?
We've got Canadian national champion Andrew Chandro on the outside, Joe Lawwill from Mill Valley, California, Australian national downhill champ Michael Ronning, and Chris O'Driscoll, a former Downhill Mania winner.
Who had a brilliant semifinal. What's it going to take for him to repeat?
Really good start and consistent riding the whole way. You got to stay powerful.
How's the course holding up?
The course is beautiful. The mud's keeping it real packed down. It's nice. It's real nice.
Deanie wants a good start. However, Joe Lawwill has been awesome getting the whole shot so far.
Keep an eye on Lawwill. White jersey, third from the right. And he does pull another whole shot again. The guy is amazing.
Lawwill in the lead, but that's not necessarily where he wants to be, he tells us.
I'd like to draft somebody off the top. I'm pedaling way too much up there. I keep leading up there because I always get scared when I'm behind. But I gotta mellow out or else I'm not gonna last.
Well, as we come back to the action, Lawwill has mellowed out. He's in fourth right now. Chandro's in the lead, but here comes Lawwill. Lawwill wants to regain position. He's losing it, Dino, and down he goes. Oh, Lawwill goes down. He takes a beating, so does his bike, as Chandro and the rest of the pack continues down. But let's see what happened. He really wanted to make a charge and then lost it.
Keep an eye on O'Driscoll. Red jersey in number 3rd slot. He just doesn't give Lawwill any room. Lawwill has to go out. He rides the rough, gets caught in the banners, and down he goes.
And that hurts, and Joe Lawwill obviously out of the race. We hope he's okay. He walks away. He just went right into the banner. So now it's down to 3 with Lawwill out. And Andrew Chandro leading the pack, and they're very tight.
Lawwill was talking about nobody really wanted to lead this. Here you've got Chandro, who got a last place start. He's leading the event, but keep an eye on Ronning. He looks really fresh.
And then O'Driscoll in this semifinal made a great move to come from behind, so we know that he has some tricks up his sleeve.
O'Driscoll won here last year. He can do it again, but it's going to be tough coming from that number 3rd slot.
O'Driscoll, the defending champ, in 3rd, as Dean just mentioned. Andrew Chandro in the lead, then Ronning in 2nd. As they go down the hill, we'll pick them up at the other side.
On that flat, you can see how the fatigue was really playing into Ronning's favor.
Lawwill out of the race, crashing early on. Now it's Chandro with Ronning very close, and O'Driscoll seems to be falling back. Can Andrew Chandro maintain this lead?
Bill, I think Chandro is just looking flat. He's just riding fast enough to stay out in front of Ronning. On these midway flats, it is really crucial to keep your speed up, and Andrew just doesn't have it. Look at him.
Ronning right behind. The jump is coming up momentarily. The course is in great shape. You see Chandro catching a peek behind Ronning right at his back tire. He's going to try to pass probably right here. Here comes Ronning, and Ronning passes him.
Great power move by Ronning. You can see Chandro is shaking. He bobbles right at the top of the jump.
Chandro almost lost it, so Ronning picked his spot perfectly. Right before the jump, made the move, and now he's in 1st. Chandro in 2nd, and O'Driscoll still hanging around in 3rd. Lawwill, of course, out of the race. But how strong is Michael Ronning looking right now? He's trying to extend that lead here in the lower part of the course.
Bill, passing Chandro right there, that was psychologically devastating. Ronning is just gone now. There is no way that Chandro's going to catch him.
Absolutely, and O'Driscoll just too far back. So Ronning so comfortable right now after that brilliant move to pass Andrew Chandro, who had the lead from the start. And Ronning now just doesn't want to make any mistakes. Can't afford a bobble down near the bottom of the course, and the race will be his.
Looks like we've got a great battle for 2nd and 3rd. O'Driscoll seems to be challenging.
That is O'Driscoll moving up on Chandro. And now, as we near the finish line, down the stretch they come. Michael Ronning, digging, churning, and Michael Ronning will win the Downhill Mania here at Snow Summit with Chandro in 2nd and O'Driscoll in 3rd. What a race! Michael Ronning catches Andrew Chandro about mid-portion. They slap 5, but Ronning, just a well-executed race, and he's reveling in it right now, the 95 Summit Downhill champ. Let's check our final results. Ronning, followed by Chandro, O'Driscoll, and Lawwill. And it's time now for our gut check, brought to you by Gatorade, who reminds you that life is a sport, drink it up. And our gut check has to go to Joe Lawwill. Nobody else. Joe Lawwill from Mill Valley, California, age 25. And he left it all up on the course. Check it out, trying to get back into competition. His chain completely freezes up. And down goes Lawwill, leaving it right there on our Downhill Mania course. He's up, and he lives to run another day. Gut check time brought to you by Gatorade. When we come back here at Snow Summit, we crown the champs. Downhill Mania has been brought to you by Gatorade. Life is a sport. Drink it up. By Mountain Biking Magazine, the #1 bike magazine offering a full 1-year subscription for only $15.95. By Slider. Follow the leader with the Bike Slider, the original trailer hitch bike rack. And by Snow Summit. Snow Summit, you gotta ride. 1995 Downhill Mania is now history. It's been an incredible afternoon. GT Bikes and Gatorade has brought us the U.S. Mountain Challenge at Snow Summit Resort here in Big Bear Lake, California. Just a few moments ago, the women's champion took the stand. Her name is Mercedes Gonzalez, the women's Downhill Mania champion, and a big win for her, as mentioned at this point in her career. Really starting a new career at 31 years of age. The final results, Mercedes Gonzalez, Sherry Elliott, Elke Broussard, and then Kim Saunier. And what a way to celebrate for Mercedes Gonzalez, and we'll probably see this scene quite often in the next couple of years. The men's champ then took the stand, King of the Hill, Michael Ronning, our men's Downhill Mania champ here at Snow Summit. A brilliantly run race for Michael, followed by Chandro, O'Driscoll, and Lawwill. Well, that celebration was just a couple of moments ago. Let's go down to a drier winner with Dean Bradley.
Thanks, Bill. I'm down here with Michael Ronning, the winner of Downhill Mania #1 here in Big Bear Snow Summit. Michael, you come out of Austria. You've only been here for 4 weeks. You beat Andrew Chandro, a past winner. You beat Chris O'Driscoll, who won here last year. Tell us about that run.
Well, it was just a matter of staying with the guys at the start. They all went really hard down the straight, so just stayed with them. And then Andrew threw in a big attack, so I went with him and stayed on his wheel. Just a matter of sort of trying to stay with him. He was riding really fast and smooth, so I followed him till I found a safe enough place to pass, which is just for the big jump up on the hill. Passed him on the inside of the corner, and then just held it together to the finish. So that's where it ended.
Now, you're new to American racing. You think that helped you here in the finals? Did the riders know your type of riding and know your tactics?
I think it did help a lot, being a bit of a newcomer, but I think they see where I'm coming from now.
What are you going to do with all that money?
Just help fund my trip and just put some away in the bank for next time I'm here.
All right, well, welcome to America. Congratulations on a big win, and back to you, Bill.
All right, thank you, Dino, and great job as always. And congratulations to all our champions here today at Snow Summit. And that'll do it for this event, but we will see you again when the GT US Mountain Challenge continues at Deer Valley, Utah. But until then, and for Dean Bradley, I'm Bill McDonald. Thank you so much for watching, everybody. So long. Accommodations provided by Northwoods Resort, a fine hotel in the rustic tradition. Call 1-800-866-3121.